Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Scotto, and tonight I'm going to show you how to add polynomials. Hopefully you're comfy at home in a nice quiet study area and you are ready to do your classwork/homework. Let's get started. In order for us to begin, you need to make sure that you have your homework worksheet, your blue worksheet that says adding polynomials out and off to the side. Okay, you should have something to write with and you should be ready to take notes. If you're ready, let's get started. There are some simple steps for adding polynomials. In order to add, we're always going to stack our like terms, add the coefficients using our calculator, and keep the variables and exponents the same. Let's look at our first example. This is number 1 on your homework sheet. We're going to find the sum of these two polynomials. First things first, let's stack our polynomials. We need to find the like terms and stack them right on top of each other. As you can see, x squared and x squared are like terms. They're on top of each other. The x's are like terms. And constants, these are whole numbers without variables, are always going to be on top of each other as well. So please pause the video at this time and make sure you copy this onto your notes for example number 1. All right, so what's next? Step 2 is adding the coefficients using our calculator. And we always require you to use your calculator because there are times where people have a hard time adding with negatives. So we just really want no mistakes. So for now, please just use your calculator. So we're going to work our way from the left to the right. Our first coefficient on the left is positive 3 and negative 1. Now we don't see a negative 1, but we know that anytime we see a variable of x or any variable and there's no coefficient, it's automatically going to be 1. So we have 3 plus negative 1, and we get 2. Next, now let's take a look at our variables. Our like variables are x squared. We're going to simply keep those variables and bring them down. So we have 2x squared. All right, now we're moving on to our middle terms. Let's go back and start with our coefficients, and then we're going to move to the variables. So for the coefficients, we're going to type them in our calculator. Negative 6 plus 1, and we get negative 5. Again, you have to be careful with that negative symbol. Don't forget the negative 6. And then we're going to move to our variables and bring down our x. Last but not least, we are off to the right. We are looking at our constants, and we're going to type them in just like that. 5 plus negative 3, and we get 2. So if you would have done that quickly and you did 5 plus 3, you would have got 8. However, it's a negative 3. So we really have to take our time, look at our problem, and use our calculator. The last thing we're going to do is just check our work, see if you made any mistakes. Are your terms like? Did you stack them properly? Did you add the coefficients using your calculator? Look if there's any negatives that you could have missed. Did you keep your variables the same and bring them down? So at this point, if you haven't copied these notes, please pause the video and copy these notes onto your example 1. If you're all set, now it's your turn. Example number 2 on your paper says to add these two sums together. 2x squared minus 3x plus 4 on the bottom here. Add these together. Repeat the steps that we just learned. Stack your terms, add your coefficients, keep your variables, and check, okay? You're going to pause the video at this time, do your work on your paper, and when you're done doing the work on your paper, make sure that you submit your answer onto Edpuzzle. Some people are forgetting to do that. When you submit your answer, please hit continue because we have one more example. The video is not done here, so please make continue and then continue to watch. All right, so hopefully you got the right answer. If you did not get the right answer, go back and see where you messed up. Let's look at a second example here. This example is not as clear as the other one because there's 3 terms on our first polynomial, and we only have 2 terms on our second polynomial. So what do you do when things aren't in order? Well, here's what we're not going to do. We're not going to just take these 2 problems and stack them on top of each other. Because this problem here is in standard form, and this one is not. So if we line these up like this, these 2 terms are not like. This is x squared, and this is 5. In order for this to be like terms, we would have to see 2x squares on top of each other. This is also not like terms. This is an x, and this is an x squared. Those are not like. Those are different. So here's what we are going to do. We always start by writing out our first polynomial here. Then we're going to look at our second polynomial and treat the terms separately and sort them to where they need to go. So the first term is 5. We're going to find the like term. The 5 matches with the 3 because they're both constants. Now let's look at the negative. Yes, I said negative. Don't forget that. Negative x squared. Where would that go? Well, that would go with the x squared, the 4x squared. Once our problem is all lined up, now we're ready to add. We're going to repeat the same steps from the first part of the video. Using your calculator, find your first coefficient, 4 plus, in this case, -1, you'll get 3. What's next? You should know. If you're thinking bring down the like terms, then you're right. X squared plus x squared will stay as x squared. We'll just bring that right down. Oh no, well, what do? We have a negative x squared. We don't have anything to combine it with. So you're going to kind of just treat it like you're saying -6x plus 0, and anything plus 0 stays the same. So we're going to actually just bring this down. And then last but not least, over to the right, we're going to take a look at our +3 and our +5. We're going to add those together, and we're going to get a +8. So this one was a little different because we had to rearrange our like terms before we started adding. Please pause the video here and make sure all these notes are on your paper. All right, so now it's your turn again. Here's your last problem. You'll have 2 different polynomials. You'll notice it looks a little similar, but this one's a little different. So try to line them up as best as possible, add them, and then submit your answer onto the Edpuzzle. Hopefully this video is helpful. If you need to at any time, you can go back to this video. You can rewatch this video to help you. Have a great night, everyone. See you tomorrow. Bye.